Good afternoon and welcome back to Pink Ribbon, and I'm Bev Ramsey, and we're journeying through health together with my history, my father's history, and then anybody else who has questions for us about their health. Right now, though, I want to make you aware that March is lymphedema Awareness Month, and behind me is the butterfly, which is the symbol for lymphedema. And I had a wonderful lady hand paint that for me. So I just want to make you aware, and actually yesterday was Lymphedema World Lymphedema Day, and everybody all over the world acknowledged lymphedema yesterday. It is a huge chronic disease that is just now really starting to get diagnosed here in the United States. But I wanted to make you aware of it, wanted you to know what the beautiful butterfly is for, and to tell you to look it up and see, who knows, you may have it. Check it out. I hope you don't. If you do, you have questions, at the end of this video, you'll know how to contact me, and I'll help you any way I can with lymphedema. But now we're going to get back to the ulcerative colitis that I talked about in our last video that my father and I both had. He had it in 88 and 89, and then I developed it in 91, 92. And we both had our colons removed. The whole bowel was removed. My dad wound up with an ileostomy bag, and I wound up with an internal pouch. There are complications with both, and it's a different lifestyle with both. And so I asked last time if anybody had any questions about ulcerative colitis, and if there's any way I can help them. So I did get a few questions, so that's what I'd like to do right now, is to answer some of those questions for you. Okay, the first question was, what is ulcerative colitis? And ulcerative colitis is an inflammation of the lining of the large intestine, which makes up your colon and your rectum. That is putting it simple, and that's probably the best way to explain that. If you have further questions, I'd probably suggest you Google it. My next question was, what causes this? And I will say that in 1992, when I was having my colon removed for this, heredity was not even discussed as an issue. But when I researched this a little bit, heredity actually was the #1 cause. It's like 20% is due to heredity. So that was new, and excuse me for looking down, but I do have to read some of this. The other was the immune system. And being an autoimmune disease, you think my immune system isn't working. Well, that's not it at all. Actually, your immune system is overreacting. And that is where I had not known that until I actually took a trip last year to Washington, D.C. with the American Cancer Society, and understood that autoimmune disease does not mean your immune system isn't working. It can actually mean it's overworking and producing too much histamine, which causes a whole lot more than I can go into because biology was not my forte. And the other thing is the environment, and it's not what we eat, which that really was a relief for me because I like to eat everything. So that was really a relief for me, but it's just the whole thing of the environment we live in today. It's the chemicals in our food. It's the chemicals we breathe that we put on our yard. So it's just really a combination of several things, but in my case, I'm going with heredity. One of my questions was, what is a colostomy? Well, not everyone has a colostomy. As in my dad's case, he had an ileostomy, and in my case, when they had my bag on me for 9 weeks, I had an ileostomy. A colostomy is where they actually take part of your large intestine and pull out of your stomach to attach to the bag, to where that is how you go to the restroom, is through that way. However, with an ileostomy, it's actually the ileum, which is the last part of your small intestine, is attached to your rectum. That's the surgery I had to hook me back up. But if you don't have that and you have what my dad had, the ileum is actually pulled out the side of your stomach, and it forms a stoma, which is actually the inside out of the ileum. And that then is how you go to the restroom, is an ileostomy. And it's your ileum, and your large intestine is totally gone. So there are two different things, and I think a lot of people get that confused, but a colostomy and an ileostomy are totally two different things. A question I got was, what are the lifestyle tips for living with ulcerative colitis? And I'm going to be very honest, you better know where every bathroom is when you get ready to travel. So every time I would go somewhere, I knew where every bathroom was, and I didn't go too far from home. But I have to be very honest with you too, because as I looked back over this, because it's been so many years since I had this, I only had it a year before they removed my colon. So I lived on prednisone and an antibiotic for the colon. But I have read and knew of people who have had ulcerative colitis for years, They have to watch what they eat. They dehydrate easily, which you dehydrate when you don't have a colon as well. And there's just a lot that they have to do. So I'm saying, hey, just everybody go get it taken out. It's been a whole lot easier than that. But I'm sure not every person would want to do that. But I don't know, because my dad and I both, we developed it, and within a year and a half it was being taken out. Why they don't do that I don't know. But as for living with it, I would just say, you have to watch what you eat. And I have read that, it's difficult. It's difficult for your family because of your bathroom habits and just your pain that you go through. Even though I've had my colon removed, I think they said that you can still have it if your rectum is still intact. Mine is. And there are times that I do feel like I still have ulcerative colitis. And you just have to take the medicine you're given, watch what you eat, and just try to stay as regular as possible. But other than that, that's really all I can tell you on that, is how to live with it, because I just didn't live with it for a long time. The last question is, how do you improve your health while you're living with ulcerative colitis? And again, I don't have a clue. I'll just be very honest. I know when I had it, I did everything I knew to do. I ate healthy. I know certain foods affect people differently. I know, like for me, I could eat beans, my dad couldn't. I mean, it's just, you have to just watch what your body can deal with, and if it cannot deal with it, don't do it. I still recommend exercise. If you can, you feel like it, please do as much, exercise as much as you can. Try to find some natural routes to it. I'm all about taking some medicine, but if there is a natural way to do it, explore it. We cannot always go off just doctors, what you say. We have to explore alternatives, and I didn't do that at that time, but I have since I've had cancer and some other things. So I say you do a lot of reading and see what all alternatives there are to living with this. There's a whole lot involved in living with an ileostomy, a colostomy, or as in my case, an ileoanal anastomosis. Very long word. So, if you have questions about it, please call me or email me or go to my Facebook page, my website. The big thing I will say is, if you do have ulcerative colitis, or if you do have an ileostomy pouch or a colostomy pouch, or are hooked up on the inside like I am, don't dehydrate. That's not much fun. Been there a few times in the hospital. So, there's just a lot involved in this. So please feel free to call me. And if you need connected with people who can give you the products you need, or support, or just questions, then please feel free to call me. And next time we probably will head off into the cancer journey. So until next month, have a good time and research ulcerative colitis, but hopefully you don't need to. Have a good one.